I'm Russell Archer, Historic Preservation Planner for the City of Hattiesburg. I'm joining you today from downtown Hattiesburg in a location that many of you will recognize, Front Street. Downtown is known for its great mix of locally owned businesses and for hosting some of the most exciting community events. It's also home to over 100 full-time residents at any given time. In fact, it's the very location where Hattiesburg began in the 1880s and home to some of the city's best architecture. Today, I'd like to highlight some of downtown's unique character and its great collection of buildings. But first, let's take a quick look back in time at the block where I'm standing right now. Some of the earliest buildings in Hattiesburg were constructed on this very block of Front Street. If a person arrived in Hattiesburg during its first decade of existence, they would have found a front street made of dirt and lined with wood clapboard structures, not entirely different from how you might picture the Old West. Arriving mostly by train, visitors would typically wander their way from the depot into town, climb the hill at Front Street where they could find any number of goods and services. One such example was the Johnson House, one of the first hotels in town. It was located almost exactly where I stand in the middle of this block. Visitors might have even wandered into one of the two saloons that were already in existence by 1884 in this block, or perhaps the Doctor Shop, a small clinic that was operated by the first physicians to arrive in Hattiesburg, Drs. Gillis and Dearman. Since there were no government offices at that time, the Doctor Shop and Johnson's Hotel would serve as de facto community centers, hosting town meetings and other types of assemblies. The rows of brick buildings that would come later housed banks, jewelers, bakers, restaurants, and dry goods. So that's just a small snapshot of the early years of Front Street. As the city quickly grew, downtown took on a more refined appearance and represented the center of activity for the city. Walking through downtown today, all you have to do is glance upward to find a variety of architectural styles represented. A previous bank building, for example, in the neoclassical style, handsome brick buildings with Italianate and Romanesque features, and at least two great examples of Art Deco architecture. The Ross building that anchors one end of this block was constructed in 1908 and it incorporated subtle elements of the prairie style of architecture made popular by Frank Lloyd Wright. On the other end of the block is the Carter building that was constructed 1 year earlier in 1907. It was designed by a very prolific architect by the name of R.H. Hunt. Now, Hunt also designed no less than 8 of the most recognizable buildings on the campus of the University of Southern Mississippi. So even as we keep one eye on the history of our city, we keep our vision towards the future, a time where you too can craft your own adventure in downtown Hattiesburg. We can't wait to see you.